This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest, center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is Saturday, August 12, 2017. Thank you for joining us. As usual, we have a jam-packed show for you today. Very interesting week here, as you know. A lot of volatility out there, but when you look at the Dow, we dropped intraday from high to low about 337 points and then recovered on Friday, and it was only about a 1.5% correction, so it may not be as bad as everybody's thinking, that is, with a potential black swan event, but we'll take it a day at a time there. I'm a little more optimistic after the summer, but for now, we'll see how the market reacts next week. Meanwhile, our guests on our show are about the same as last week, but might make a little change here. We're going to have our good friend Jeff Bishop and Kyle Dennis joining us, Henry Weingarten, Sinclair No, Don Below, of course, and Harry Boxer. So let's get started with our first guest, Kyle. Welcoming back Kyle Dennis, who is the Chief Biotech Strategist for RagingBull.com. Kyle is an independent equities trader focused on uncovering undervalued stocks in the market, and he researches stocks which are under the radar and looks for supporting data about the stocks which could foretell catalytic events. Kyle, thank you for joining us again on Wall Street Raw.
Thanks for having me back again, Mark.
I know you've had a really busy week. I've been getting a lot of your emails, a lot of trading, but in the most recent email you mentioned you want to talk about two particular securities, NKTR, which is Nectar Therapeutics, and FOLD, Amicus Therapeutics. So let's hear about those two.
Yeah, sure. Like I mentioned last time on your show here, I thought we were going to get a little bit of a pullback in the biotech space, and that's actually what we got. So I really like these two names coming into some support here. The first one, like you said, NKTR, Nectar Therapeutics. They are actually partnered with, check this out, AstraZeneca, Bristol Myers Squibb, Amgen, Baxalta, Roche, Bayer, and just to name a few, all the big guys. And they have a couple of data readouts coming. One is for an antibiotic drug, which I really like. That data is going to be phase 3 data due in the third quarter, so coming up here between, starting in September. And they'll also have some cancer trial data due out at a conference called ESMO, which is on September 9th. That's going to be phase 1-2 data for a solid tumor in cancer. So that looks pretty interesting to me, especially since it's pulled back significantly off its highs. Not too long ago, it was at 24, and now it's all the way down there to 18. So to me, it looks like a really nice opportunity between 17 and 18, and especially if we get a little bit of a pullback to about 300 support on the biotech index, the IBB. And then the other name I wanted to talk about was Fold, which is ticker FOLD. The company's name is Amicus Therapeutics. And that one has 2 data readouts coming as well, but this one's going to be in the late third quarter, so coming up probably here soon this month. And the two there is a phase 3 data readout for epidermolysis, and the other one's a phase 1-2 data readout for Pompe disease. both, I think, are going to read out positive. And what I really like about this one is one of my favorite hedge funds, biotech hedge funds called Perceptive Advisors, is the top holder in this name. So they've been adding to their position, and they seem very bullish on this name as well. So I think it's a pretty good buy right around this region as well.
Thank you, Kyle, for joining us this week. Kyle Dennis from RagingBull.com. That's the best way for our listeners to reach you, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, Kyle Dennis from RagingBull.com, and we'll be back with us hopefully next week. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Welcoming back Jeff Bishop to Wall Street Raw on the Saturday morning. Jeff is as he calls himself, or is written in his bio, a serial entrepreneur and founder of several popular financial education and trading websites, including TopStockPicks.com and RagingBull.com. He's been on the show before. It was really a pleasure having him back. Thanks for joining us on the Saturday morning, Jeff.
Oh, it's always good to be here. Thanks, Mark.
Well, we had a wild week here, and the stock market took a nosedive, tied, I suppose, to the North Korea situation, and the VIX exploded. So you've got some insights there. Let's talk about what is happening.
Yeah, it's been like a free ride, just kind of betting on the market week after week. It's going to go up, up, up. Eventually, we're going to hit a road bump, though, and it sure seems to be this was the week it happened. So I don't think we're quite done with volatility, but we did see the VIX index go from the 9s all the way up to over 15. So it's over a 50% move just in a few days. It really could go a lot higher. Historically, the VIX go, up to 30s before it might peak out. But I think we're really close to a short-term top here of the volatility index. And there's several ways traders can take advantage of that if they want to bet to the downside for that.
So meaning the overall market may, the little rally that started in the market on Friday may extend itself a little bit in the stock market and the VIX pull back. That's what you're reading?
Yeah, so even if the market doesn't make a rebound, the volatility index sure could fade from where it is right now. It's flashing some big panic signs. The market itself isn't really falling apart here. We had a 2% correction earlier this week, which, the market may think that's a big event, but as we know, that 2% is not the end of the world. So the market's not really out of hand, and the volatility index probably will pull back in. I'm doing that by selling calls against UVXY, which trades short-term volatility. Also, I think traders should be looking at ticker symbol XIV as a bottom play here. So that one will rise as volatility declines.
XIV is an ETF for volatility?
Yep. It's going to trade inverse the volatility. So that one's going to go up as volatility declines. So I think that's an easy one that most traders can take advantage of.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on XIV and the VIX in the coming week. Jeff, thank you for joining us. We are in that seasonal negative period, though. We still have about 30 seconds here, so it's not surprising we did see this market take a little nosedive, and it could carry into September, October historically. Can it not?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nervousness in the sidelines. People are enjoying that free ride up in the market, but they realize the rug could be pulled out any moment now. So I think that they're quick to sell, and that's causing a lot of short-term volatility. But as far as we've seen, it just gets bid right back up. So we'll see if this one holds the same.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Bishop from RagingBull.com and TopStockPicks.com, and hopefully we'll have you back next week with a follow-up. Thanks for joining us.
Great. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Kyle, both from RagingBull.com. And these are sponsored interviews, just as a disclosure, but good content for our program. Meanwhile, as I mentioned at the top of the show, minor correction this past week, considering all the fireworks and the potential risk of a black swan event that everybody has been worrying about. But we're still in that negative cyclical time frame. Wouldn't be surprised to see the market bounce a little bit, and then we'll take it a day at a time. But I think overall, you got to be looking to buy them on any weakness here in the weeks ahead if we do get a further sell-off. That's sort of my take on the market. This sell-off is coming within an expected time frame, but it is being supported. You've got that old plunge protection team out there we've been talking about for years. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after our break with Henry Weingarten and Don Velo.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-959-5759. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-959-5759. That's 1-800-959-5759. 1-800-959-5759.
Being self-reliant is about being prepared and to do what you need to have your own source of renewable energy. Portable Solar LLC offers the most powerful EMP-hardened solar system on the market that is transportable from place to place, and the best part, it's very affordable. Contact them at portablesolarllc.com or call for details at 972-575-8875. Soul Arc EMP-hardened solar generator energy insurance for your family or business. Call Portable Solar LLC today or go to portablesolarllc.com to check out their patent-pending technology.
Imagine what it's like to be active your whole life and then find out you're going blind. I have age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. As a wife, mother, and grandmother, my sight is precious to me, so I was relieved to find that treatments for some forms of AMD are available, and research for additional treatments is underway. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS for a free packet on reversing or managing AMD, or go to the website fightblindness.org, where I found so much helpful information. Call 1-800-BLINDNESS today.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's mypillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists, get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
welcoming back our regular guest and always a special guest, Henry Weingarten from the Astrologers Fund. Henry's been managing director of that fund for many, many years, and he's been doing what he's been doing for nearly 50 years, and he's made some terrific calls on our program, so we always enjoy having him back. Henry, well, we had a bit of volatility this past week, and you were looking for it.
Yeah, we had said that we expected to see 14 plus in August, and we got it, so we're happy about that. The bigger play, of course, was we said from August 4th on that the market was at risk till September. And, of course, we got to see that very nicely. The main points going ahead forward, though, first I'll give a short-term forecast, and that is, which is what we gave in our tweet, is that if the S&P closed above 2440, there'd be some profit-taking on Monday and Tuesday. You know, that's one thing, because that's a very important critical point where people get scared. The North Korea situation is mostly an excuse for people to sell. It's cover more than anything else. Obviously, there's some risk there, but that's just the excuse to take profits, which people want to do. Gold could be under some pressure early in the week because of the 1300 to 1325 overhead resistance. But on an intermediate-term basis, none of this is going to matter much because we don't see that much downside, whether it be 3%, 5%, 10%, depending on what you're looking at. It's not so great that if you went away and came back in October, you'd care. On the other hand, raising cash and et cetera, and doing all sorts of nice profit-taking things is a smart thing to do. When you have your profits, if you don't take care of them, they very often go away. So it really doesn't matter if you do anything or not, although if you want to make more money, you do have to act. We're going to be under pressure, certainly for the next week or two. And how much of a rally there would be, assuming this gets resolved, is questionable. So right now, we're not really doing anything. We did everything we needed to do last week. And markets will be, going back and forth. And the question is how low. And that will depend on, again, the S&P 2440 number. If that becomes overhead resistance, then we have to look down below. Meanwhile, that's a place that people will start fighting.
So below 2440, where do you think we're headed?
Well, certainly 24, maybe 23. We really haven't looked because part of it depends on, astrology is different than technical analysis, or rather astrotechnical analysis. It depends on when something happens. Mm-hmm. So it makes a big difference for us. Let's say if gold is down $10 on Monday versus on Tuesday, that's totally different. And the reason for that is for example, late Monday, Tuesday, there's some negative aspects on gold. Now, let's say gold goes down $10. That's no big deal. Suppose it goes up or stays neutral, then that's very bullish for gold. So it's not just what the move is, it's when the move is. So it really depends on what days. For example, next week actually has some positive influences in the market. So it may not go down that much. It may stay in a range, I'm just taking this out of the air, of, say, 2420 to 2460. 20 points, say 100, well, even less than that, say even 100 points above or below that number. And it doesn't mean anything because there's some positive stuff. But then next week, the week after, there's some negative stuff. So it depends on how negative it is or how positive it is.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you. The biggest indicator you have is when something doesn't go the way you expect it to be. It's because there's a bigger cycle going the other way.
All right. Well, thank you again, Henry, for joining us on Wall Street Raw. Henry Weingarten from the Astrologers Fund, and we'll talk to you next week.
That sounds good.
We have jam-packed information ahead of you on the show. So, again, don't touch that dial. We got Sinclair No coming up after the break, Harry Boxer. And then we're going to have an encore presentation of last week's Arch Crawford interview. I wanted Arch back on, but there's some personal issues, and he couldn't get back on this Saturday morning. Meanwhile, a lot of talk about the solar eclipse and its effect on the markets and political economic impact, and Arch is really good at stuff like that. So I want to make sure you heard that interview from last week, and it was very prescient in terms of what had happened this past week. Meanwhile, talking about action this past week, a lot of talk about the Dow dropping a couple hundred points in North Korea, but the old Bitcoin continued to explode to the upside. Last week, this time, Bitcoin was at $30,000 $3,100 a coin, 31.63, up to 37.09. So everybody talks about gold and silver as a hedge against political, economic uncertainty. Bitcoin is the one that exploded, and despite the fact we had that fork, if you remember the last couple of weeks, where they broke off Bitcoin into Bitcoin Cash, and there are serious investors in this space, folks. Goldman Sachs came out, I think, in the last week or so, talking about that investment managers are going to have to consider this as an allocation. In fact, Henry Weingarten had mentioned this on the show a few weeks ago, that one of the portfolio managers he was working with, this is several weeks back, might have been even 6 weeks, was looking at a 7% portfolio allocation into Bitcoin, and we all know that an ETF is coming. So where is the top? We don't know. Technically, hopefully, we'll see it when it happens. It's extended here, so as a trader, I'd be looking, hopefully for a bit of a pullback. We were trading a couple low-priced Bitcoin-related stocks that did really well, up 50, 100% in those two cases, and you'll have to go to vrtrader.com to find out which ones they are and which ones we still like. Low price, but they seem to reflect the move in Bitcoin itself. And it's just not Bitcoin, it's the cryptocurrencies. We have to understand Bitcoin is just one of many cryptocurrencies out there, folks. And I keep talking about this, but, when we're trading GBTC, for example, which is that Bitcoin investment trust, and you make 30, 40 points in a day on it, and we are, looking for the short-term as well as the intermediate, longer-term plays, but we have a short-term play in something, it certainly catches your attention. So, but there are 100 cryptocurrencies that I've posted on my website with a link. If you go to vrtrader.com and subscribe to our services, and you'll see that's just 100, and I'm told there's several hundred beyond that. So it's like the old, I guess you could speculate, like the old penny stock days. We got some of these things trading at 10, 20 cents, and others trading at $3,700 like Bitcoin. But you do have Ethereum, you have Litecoin, but ultimately the SEC will approve that ETF, which the Winklevoss brothers were trying to get approved, that got turned down. A lot of pressure from Wall Street to get involved. It is a alternate currency. Japan had legalized it. We know that. And that is for Bitcoin. And, this is a way to move money. And the marijuana space likes this in particular. As you know, I do produce the Cannabis Vice letter. But, there's a big issue with federal law here in the United States where, the banks won't accept your cash, or many won't accept your cash because of federal law. And transactions accomplished in Bitcoin or in other cryptocurrencies is a way around that issue. So that's catching a lot of attention among the marijuana group. Of course, once it gets legalized here, that'll be out the window. But a lot of interesting stuff going on in that space. So we are going to talk about it here a bit on the show, but we are trading it as well. Don't touch your dial. Very interesting interview with our good friend Sinclair No, and stay tuned.
Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
Here we are talking about the CIA, the NSA, and top intelligence agencies. All of our sensitive secrets can be hacked. We now know that safety and privacy of our finances are over. I mean, how safe and private do you think your finances are sitting in the cyber world? Who hacked them? How about your stock accounts, your saving accounts, even your 401ks? Frankly, that's why I turned to Swiss America for answers about protecting the savage household finances and privacy. One book explained it all. Don't bank on it. 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646. It's a free book on exactly the topic we're talking about. And you'll learn how to protect your money against what even the CIA cannot protect. Please do it now. It's free. It's a book. 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646. For a free copy of the book, Don't Bank on It. 800-289-2646.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
For those suffering from hearing loss, a typical morning may sound like this.
Hey, good morning.
But with an MD hearing aid, mornings could sound like this.
Hey, good morning.
Music with hearing loss may sound like this. With an MD hearing aid, if you or a loved one want to enjoy all the sounds you've been missing, you need to try the MD hearing aid. You can try it risk-free for 45 days. Just call 1-800-481-6532. MD Hearing Aid is an FDA-registered, audiologist-tested hearing aid, and at a savings of more than 80% off the average price of a traditional hearing aid, hearing clearly again is more affordable than you think. So instead of a muffled weather report,
Chance of clouds and rain.
you could be hearing.
But it's looking sunny with warm temps into the weekend.
To hear what you've been missing for a fraction of the price, try the MD Hearing Aid risk-free for 45 days. Call 1-800-481-6532. Plus, you'll get free shipping and free batteries for a year. 1-800-481-6532.
Anything that is thy neighbor.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Back, our good friend from KFN 1510 Phoenix and author of the blog EatTheBankers.com, Sinclair No. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning, Sinclair.
Well, thank you, Mark. Always a pleasure.
We had a wild week this past week with the markets, but let's jump on banks
something
behaving.
happened in the markets?
Yeah, we had a little volatility, but doesn't mean anything. But meanwhile, let's jump on the banks behaving badly segment. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with cash and in the banks now. We know that it raises red flags if you draw too much cash out of the bank, but there's other things going on too, which we talked about off air. So let's delve into that a little bit.
Well, as you know, and this has been the case for a long, long time, if you were to go in to a bank and withdraw $10,000 in cash, that bank would have to file a currency transaction report. Likewise, if you deposit $10,000 in cash, that's what they're supposed to do. The idea is to avoid money laundering, people just pouring ill-gotten cash into a bank account and thinking that it's all of a sudden clean. No, they want to know where that amount of cash came from. Because in another transaction, you say you cash a check, they have a paper trail of where that money came from. So they want to know where it came from. That's been around for a long, long time. And it's part of the move to a cashless society. But a lot of folks, and we see this in particular this week when there was all this talk about North Korea and nuclear war. People were thinking, safe haven, let me get into some gold, let me get into some cash position, something like that. So some people perhaps were thinking, I just need to hold some cash, have some cash on hand. Be aware that if you hold cash, you take a fair amount of cash out of the bank and you have it on you, the government can take it from you. It's called civil asset forfeiture. And quite simply, civil asset forfeiture allows law enforcement to confiscate property from citizens and businesses without obtaining a criminal conviction or even filing criminal charges. They just take the money. Once the property has been seized, you would have to navigate through this just upside-down legal world with very little judicial supervision, and the rules are going to be stacked against you. Most federal forfeitures are administrative, accomplished by the federal agency without ever seeing a judge. To get judicial oversight to property owners who are not guaranteed counsel, like a criminal defendant, they would have to hire an attorney, or they could go it alone, represent themselves, and file a claim to the property contesting the forfeiture. If they fail to do so in time, the property is forfeited by default to the agency, which acts as investigator, prosecutor, and judge. Just to give you an example, and of course this goes back to the war on drugs, Drug Enforcement Administration confiscated some $3.2 billion in cash over the past 10 years without filing charges or with any judicial oversight. Now, that's just the Drug Enforcement Administration. This happens all across the country. Local police departments have funded themselves. A lot of these small towns throughout the country fund themselves in part through forfeitures. And so it could be something like a traffic stop. You get pulled over for a taillight being out. Next thing you know, you got cash on your bean. That now goes over to the police department. Good luck in getting it back. Just a little side note there.
Well, there's also that bill pending, whether it's going to go anywhere or not, in the Senate, entitled Combating Money Laundering, Terrorist Financing, and Counterfeiting Act of 2017, and that's supposed to also address the cash situation as well, and I read even possibly Bitcoin.
Well, this is the other way that folks are trying to work around, and as you know, Bitcoin hit a high this week. Yes. It seems to be catching on. Goldman Sachs is saying this is something we really need to look at now and understand, and Fidelity has said if you have Bitcoin, you can now basically put it on your online account, and they'll count it essentially as money and keep track of the current valuation of it. So folks are looking at different things. I'm not sure that Bitcoin is the answer. The technology is interesting, but beyond that, where is any inherent value to Bitcoin? I still have not seen that. Of course, you could say the same thing about cash, I suppose.
Well, you could say any of the currencies in the world. What's backing those currencies? Just the faith of governments. So there's a lot of argument for alternate investments, and gold and cryptocurrencies, I guess, are the other choice.
And it's changing now. We're seeing this transition over to cryptocurrency and other ideas. And part of it is to avoid this long arm of law enforcement.
I know even in the cannabis space, Sinclair, because of the cash situation there due to federal law, Bitcoin is becoming a possible solution for that. So just another way of, I guess, circumventing the situation.
In part because it's legal in some states but not legal federally. And so you run into established banking entities and financial institutions who are afraid to even touch it. But there has to be something done so that people aren't just trading cash back and forth, which can be a little bit dangerous, quite frankly.
Sinclair, thank you again for joining us. Interesting discussion about cash this week, an ongoing saga. Thank you again, Sinclair No, KFNN 1510 Phoenix, and author of the blog, incomparable blog, eatthebankers.com. Thank you, Sinclair. And, J.P. Morgan came out, which is the country's biggest bank, banning cash payments for credit card debt, mortgages, car loans. It's also banned storage of any cash or coins in safe deposit boxes, which we've known for quite some time. So this is restricting our freedom, folks. This is just another way the government intrudes into our lives, banning our use of cash and eventually trying to eliminate it. We saw what happened in India several months ago, where the government forced citizens, those that were willing to cooperate, of course, to turn in their larger, smaller bills for bigger bills, and just trying to get more cash out of the system, and that caused a lot of suffering in that country, which is still going on. We had an interview with a guest not too long ago discussing just that subject. Meanwhile, if you want more information, I want you to go to our sponsor, Swiss America, and call them at 800-289-2646 for their book, The Secret War of Cash. And don't bank on it. Again, 800-289-2646, and learn more about what's really going on with this cash war and how you can protect yourself, and think about strategizing for the future, because it will become a situation where cash won't be available to you, and you'll have to know how to deal with it. Again, that's 800-289-2646 for your 2 free books. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with Don VIALOUX.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
Listen to what Jeff says about Andro 400.
This product is so much better than even some of the advertisements. It's changed every aspect of my life. That was a 40 waist, and with the Andro 400, I'm down to 36. I'm 54 years old, and people have said to me that I look better than I ever have, and that I look like I'm in my early 40s. Hands down, I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm telling you, it's the Andro. People immediately notice the burst of energy, my skin, my energy, plus the weight loss, the toning of the body, and the increased strength and endurance that I have in the gym. Where I was and where I am now, night and day. And Andro 400 has made the difference. My customers, my friends, my family, everybody's noticing the difference.
Guys, if you want to lose belly fat, gain energy, strength, and muscle, and look and feel years younger like Jeff, try Andro 400, the safe, natural, and affordable way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. That's 888-400-0435. andro400.com.
If there's a toxic chemical, biological, gas smoke emergency while traveling at home or on your job, are you protected? Are you prepared? There are over 400,000 fires in the USA every year. Up to 85% of all deaths in a fire are due to smoke inhalation. 3 minutes without air, and we as humans will die. Be prepared and escape safely with our Safe Escape smoke hoods, giving you up to 60 minutes of breathable air protection. Order yours online at ase-safety.com. That's ase-safety.com. And get up to 40% off, plus free shipping.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-557-0158. That's 800-557-0158. Again, 800-557-0158.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcoming back our regular guests and special guest, Don VIALOUX from the Canadian Society of Technical Analysts, where he served as past president. He's a chartered market technician, but he was also advisor to the Horizon Seasonal Rotation ETF between 2009 and 2015, and he authors two great blogs. One is timingthemarket.ca, and the other is equityclock.com. Thank you, Don, for joining us.
Thanks for having me back, Mark.
Well, we had a boring week, didn't we?
Well, 'tis the season for a correction in North American equity markets. During the past 20 periods, from mid-June to mid-October, North American equity markets have experienced 20 corrections. Now, each correction was triggered by a non-recurring event. A good example was Brexit last year. This year could be North Korea. Now, history shows that North American equity markets are particularly vulnerable to a summer correction in years ending in 7, like 2017. So be aware.
This year, Korea is the event.
It probably is. Time will tell.
So there's jittery times in Canada, you say?
Yeah, lots of things happening up here. Pipeline companies are in the news again. Hearings on the Keystone XL pipeline were held last week in Nebraska. The U.S. and Canadian governments, as well as 2 of the 3 required states, already have approved construction of the pipeline. Approval by Nebraska is needed. Now, the environmentalists continue to oppose the project vigorously. The final decision on this pipeline is expected by November. TransCanada is a stock that will be most influenced by this decision.
And let's talk about the NDP. They're still doing their thing.
Yeah, now that they have control in British Columbia, they announced on Friday that it will oppose start of construction of the expanded Trans Mountain pipeline. Is given by the provincial government, in other words, by the NDP government. And once again, the environmental groups are strongly opposed to the project. Kinder Morgan is most influenced by the decision.
And what's going on with NAFTA this past week?
Well, next week's going to be the big week. NAFTA negotiations between Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. start. Canadian investors are particularly concerned about what's going to happen with selected sectors. Sectors most impacted include the auto industry, the wine industry, and the agricultural products industry.
Don, thank you again for joining us. Great insight into what's going on in Canada, and we do that every week here on Wall Street Raw. Don VIALOUX from EquityClock.com and TimingTheMarket.ca. Speak to you next week, Don. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mark.
Welcoming an old friend, very special friend, Arch Crawford, back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday morning. We only have a short interview with Arch this morning, but we want to touch on his predictions and comments regarding the most powerful astro event of the year. By the way, Arch publishes Crawford Perspectives, and if you want to get a copy of that, you should go to CrawfordsPerspectives.com or just Google Arch Crawford. And as he told me off air, probably 1,000 connections will pop up on the screen. Thanks for joining us, Arch.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, let's talk about the big astro event of the year. It's the solar eclipse coming up and how that ties into your work.
Okay, well, this is the first solar eclipse that goes all the way across the United States and only the United States since 1918. And so it's a pretty big deal. I wrote in my letter that we had a solar eclipse that went all the way across Russia in, I think, 2008. And a few days later was a Mars-Uranus opposition, and that day they went to war with Georgia, the country, not the state. In this particular case, there is a Mars-Uranus connection on the day of the eclipse. So whether it brings us into a war or just some terrorist activity, I don't know, but it's something to watch for very carefully. And in the months after, there'll be hits to the eclipse that could bring events in the stock market and in the geopolitical situation. And I have those listed on the front page of the August newsletter, some of where the hits will be in the future. So I remember in 2001 there was a solar eclipse on the summer solstice and a lunar eclipse 2 weeks later on July the 5th. Now, July the 4th is the birthday of the U.S. and July 6th was the birthday of George Bush. So I said that this lunar eclipse, between the two, I said when Mars gets up to this eclipse point, the U.S. will be at war. And I missed it by 3 days for 9/11.
Fantastic.
So it's a very important time, and you can see the trends in things that are happening now will become critical during the eclipses. The first one is the lunar eclipse on the 7th and the solar eclipse on the 21st.
Thank you, Arch. We have Arch Crawford from Crawford Perspectives. Great, quick insight here on the Saturday morning. We'll have Arch back real soon with follow-up. If you want more information, again, Google Arch Crawford or go to archcrawford.com. And thank you, Arch, for joining us.
Delighted, sir.
Yes, thank you. This was a encore play of last week's interview, and Arch couldn't make it again this morning for an update. But this commentary was actually published on July 31st. So way ahead of the North Korean development and confrontation we saw this past week. And I've known Arch, it's got to go back to, 1977, 78 area. And, when I used to trade on the Chicago Board Options Exchange, there were a lot of financial astrologers walking around back then. And at first I laughed until I started seeing some spectacular calls. So it's like anything else, you put all the pieces together. If they tie in with your other work, seasonality. For example, we knew there could be a pullback or correction possibly in the summer, and then the astro indicators are saying there could be something significant tied, for example, to this solar eclipse. And sure enough, we saw an overlap, and it seemed to at least work last week. So we'll see how it all plays out. But when I was trading and when I was the head of a brokerage firm, research department in Chicago, dozens and dozens of managers and analysts would read the financial astrology and Arch in particular. There's several others out there, and our good friend Henry Weingarten, who we have on the show every week, also is part and parcel to that. They wouldn't admit it. Everybody would be closet astrologers because they would see these kind of predictions and they didn't want to have their bosses find out, thinking their jobs would be in jeopardy. So astrology's been around thousands of years. I'm not an astrologer, but I pay attention to everything. And that's why the show is Wall Street Raw, because we talk about stuff that you don't hear on CNBC or you don't hear on CNN, or people are fearful for their jobs that they bring up stuff like this. And I'm happy to talk about it because, if I see a time with my technical work, all the better. Meanwhile, this past week saw a little bit of damage in the markets, and we saw some big stocks take a nosedive. For example, Priceline was down 178 points to 1854. That's PCLN. Bugelli Holdings, that's BH, was down 56 points to 320. Coca-Cola Bottling was down 30 points to 208. Atrian, that's ATRI. Coke, by the way, is COKE, was down 30 points to 622. Cable One, that's CABO, was down 26 points to 735. Chipotle was down 18 points because that's been having problems for the last year or two, down to 326. Tesoro was down 17 points to 111. So, even names like Dillard's was down 15 points this past week to 58. A lot of pressure this past week on some of the high flyers. Tesla came down part of the week, but then managed to rally. But still looks to me like it overall could pull back here. So little caution flag there, I still think, is the case. And as we do each week, we close our show as our old friend Ed Hart used to do on the great financial news network from the 1980s and 1970s. When he closes, we do as we say, we will know in the fullness of time. Speak to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Out, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
Love or loathe him, Donald J. Trump is our 45th president. There is no denying now that Trump will go down in history, both despised and admired. Commemorate Trump's presidency with your very own Trump silver bust from TrumpSilverStatue.com. This museum-quality heirloom Trump silver statue bust is hand-cast from 20 troy ounces of silver, a great investment. From TrumpSilverStatue.com. Loathed or loved, own a valuable piece of Trump's legacy. Get your solid silver Trump bust today at TrumpSilverStatue.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest price filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.